Hello?
Hello, Mermage?
Hello. Okay, we're back. We've
Oh, we're live. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Risen Divine League Week 2 matchup between HoH Gaming and Striking Vipers. Both these teams sitting at 1-0, looking to get right off to the top of the group early on here with a 2-0 start. But for that to happen, each is going to have to go through the other. Have to find out which one it is going to be here. Both these teams starting off with some pretty simple level 1 spreads.
very simple, very basic. It's not like either of these teams has that super strong level one invade, unless you commit like 5 people to just goon one person. But you don't, there isn't that super hard CC outside of kind of killer. But that's very hard, like hypotheticals, and we're not going to be seeing those either way. Though standard fan from both sides here, very standard build starts as well. I'm gonna be seeing the tier start though for Benji Mix and this mid lane as is Corki. Uh, I actually haven't really seen enough Corki recently actually to comment on this. I know the Manamune is still very strong on him and he does still build it. I just can't remember if this is a typical start or if it's usually the corrupting potion start.
Yeah, the
Either
Man
way,
Immune is super good on the Corki. You can proc it off of those rockets now. They took that away from him for a very short bit, but gave it right on back, and it is now the real cornerstone of
oh,
that Corki build. It's now, let's see, Taigig going to start off his red buff, going to go over to the side of those Krugs. Shaden now trading
no.
up in the top lane up against this Gwen.
Yep. Don't mind the shoddy camera work stream. This is just slight production issues we're having to work around. As
Not
I
a
am
problem.
the observer due to unforeseen circumstances. Either way, though. God, that's like the fourth time I've said either way, though, this game. Either way, though.
Oh,
Benjamin
Benjamex,
giving me a
though,
lot
taking
of
a whole bunch of damage here in the middle lane. One
pressure,
hand,
right?
though, going to be returned onto by the side of Taigeg, who's going to dash forward, going to get the Wind Becomes Lightning, going to get the first blood. Now going to move forward onto Mitch, who's just going to have to head for the hills here. Cannot take this 1v2 or anything even close to it. Going to have to hide out under that outer turret in the middle lane. That's going to be a nice early lead going over to the side of HoH Gaming.
Oof. And just stepping a little too forward there from Onehan. Or One-Han. We didn't ask him for how to pronounce her name, sadly. I'll go with One-Han, because it sounds like One-Chan. And we all know how Risen loves anime. I almost said either way again. Never mind that, though, because steps a little too far forward, as is Graves, as is kind of typical. Sometimes you want to get off that last bit of poke to really just hammer home, like, please go back here after I ganked you and did not get the kill. It does backfire, though, quite heavily. The first blood also going to the Shinzao, who we talked about in Champion Select Gordo, can snowball a game very effectively if he does get that early lead. Has those strong early skirmishes, as we saw there. Never mind that, because he's Lulu. Definitely in town for a lot of pain. This bot lane here for the side of Striking Vipers already off to this pushing advantage.
Yeah, nicely played there by Resurrection and Jordan Bot, making a lot happen there in the 2 versus 2. They get a nice pillar off, and they can chain that into all of these skill shots coming through from the Ziggs. So important to note that Benjamex has blown that flash in the middle
Ooh,
lane, so it could be another
Onihan is
potential for
there.
Onehan to go for a gank, but not yet, as he's going to go into the bot lane first and foremost. There goes the pillar. Here comes the potential combo. Not going to end up going on through. Q gets thrown away, but gets blocked by the pillar, actually. Ends up not dealing any damage over to the side of online, and now the side of Striking Vipers are going to have to back away. They turn the combo into a non-bow, and they end up not making anything happen.
It does end up as a summoner spell advantage, though, for the side of the Striking Vipers, as they are able to get out the flash, heal, and exhaust just for an exhaust of their own. Of course, like you said, they're not able to really get much of anything else off the back of it. It's not like Dragon's up quite yet. It's not like there's anything really substantial to be gained. But of course, a flashless vein is going to be easier to gank in the future. Does mean the next time a pillar lands, well, she's not going to have that dash to go on over and forever. Is going to have to be a little bit more careful if they do push up. But a vein out pushing a Zig's probably not going to happen. Let's forget that, though. Here's a bit of a duel.
Yeah, Taiga going up real aggressively here up against
Ooh,
Onehan.
no
Benjamex
mana.
is here as well. This 2v2 went to the side of HoH the first time around, but now Onehan is pushing it back. Mitch does have access to the flash, but has no mana in the tank. Going to be forced to disengage. Nobody ends up going down there. Was a very close back and forth, but Taigig knows his limits, just gets the aggressive trade in and backs away when he realizes it's not going in his favor. It's going to still end up just being a gold lead over to the side of HoH.
Definitely nothing really substantial so far outside of that first blood picked up here for the Shinzao. Has not been able to back quite yet here as Taigag due to just farming and, having and all that. The special jungler mumbo jumbo that no one really cares about because you can always just blame him for jungle difference at the end of the game, no matter how it goes.
It's always an opportunity. We'll see who ends up blaming their jungler, who ends up praising theirs once we get a little bit deeper into the game here. But as of right now, Taigeg is certainly dominating in that regard. Gwen taking a whole bunch of damage in that trade there. Shaden does have access to the showstopper. Could potentially look for a little bit of a kill there. It does look like Gwen has used the ultimate. So that doesn't mean that needlework not going to be available for a short while, but he's going to regen back a little bit of HP as Jordan Bot try to make the fight happen once again. That's a nice satchel charge back in. That's going to be the smoke screen coming through as well. Forced to run through the minefield. Jordan Bot picks up the kill in the bottom lane and makes it 1-for-1 on the scoreboard. Nicely played there. Good chaining of the CC from the Striking Vipers bot lane jungle combo.
And that's why when there's no, never mind. Benjamex might be looking for shade in here. I don't think there's a ton of kill potential if that Haymaker is up. Still, great pickup in the bot lane, even though we did kind of point out that the Striking Vipers team, they don't exactly have the hardest engage. They don't have the hardest of CC. But when it comes to a flashless Vayne or Lulu in the bot lane, one pillar means they can't get over it if that flash is down. It means you can then throw out a satchel and then they're blinded by the smoke screen. Really easy CC to layer, all things considered. You're able to put this Vayne on the back foot in this lane. It means the Ziggs able to get a lead, but you do really want Gordo because you want that Ziggs to be applying the pressure for either the turret plates, the early turret, the early dragons, all that juicy stuff. Of course, after I say that, the early dragon is going to be going over to the Shinzao or the side of HoH due to the timing of those backs. Still, a nice pickup here in the bot lane if you happen to be Resurrection Ziggs.
Yeah, HoH, though, going to pick up this first dragon of the game. They are going to put that one in their pockets, going to start stacking it up early and often. But you already brought up the pressure that Ziggs can exert and the power he brings towards turrets with that satchel charge. That really makes you want to get those Rift Heralds when you're playing with Ziggs on your team. So want to see what One-Hand and Shaden are going to be able to make happen on this top side in order to actually try to aggress towards this Rift Herald. As you said, Taigig already in a little bit of a lead, so is going to have priority over this objective, might end up claiming it here, but Striking Vipers would certainly like to have some skin in the game if they can.
We'll have to see, because usually there isn't a large fight over the first Rift Herald, even though it is the most important of the two. It usually just comes down to jungle pathing, and whoever has a lead in the mid to top side of the map, then it's, yeah, sure, we'll get it. But on opposite terms, we have this dive being set up in the bot lane. There's the pillar, but a great tumble going to be getting forever right on out of this. Of course, it does mean that more plates, more of a CS differential going to be going over to this Ziggs bot lane.
Yeah, and a great condemn as well from the side of DL Forever. Just really shuts down One-Hand's gank opportunity there. Makes sure that it are going to have enough distance to get away. Resurrection going to continue this siege, going to continue hammering away at these bottom lane plates. Not quite in execute distance yet. Needs to get one more plate to be able to do so. And is going to have trouble doing that without being able to force DL Forever and Online out of lane. And as of yet, the ganks have not been successful other than the one. And they are not going to be able to stop them from clearing away this wave and protecting their turret.
It was still a very successful single gank, though. You're able to get a kill in that bot lane, put this Vayne on the back foot. We can see, like, because the tower plays just in general. Oh, the package is available for Benjamex, and he is in the bot lane if they do want to look for this. I'll hand it off to you because I feel like there is some love in the air tonight. By love, I mean fight, and by fight, I mean probably not.
Yeah, no. Looks like they are just going to end up backing away with Benjamex here. Really nice read by Striking Vipers to not move aggressively there when they don't know where Corki is, and Corki does have access to the package. This time period where he does notify you that he's picked that one up and is roaming around the map with it is always the most threatening time. Although, as I say, that Jordan bot going a little bit aggressively into the bottom lane as they see Corki in the mid lane, but still not going to really end up coming out much ahead in the trade. Just going to force the wave in and try to rotate up for maybe this Scuttle Crab, maybe a little bit of action towards mid. A lot of options.
Yeah, that's the thing with Trundle's support is, like, yes, the pillar is a great engage tool, but we saw Resurrection kind of was too far away to really do anything of all, unless he really wants to commit the Mega Inferno Bomb, but that isn't enough to kill DL forever. And this Trundle is going to get absolutely melted by this Vayne. I mean, everyone gets melted by Vayne if she does get those multiple autos in, but especially a support Trundle who tends to favor health, who does not have the highest economy. Mind that because we might have a bit of a scuffle in the bot lane here. Keep in mind we have under 2 minutes until the next dragon, so there isn't a ton of high priority to fight over in this bot lane to translate into objective, but there is a potential to fight over a nice back. Remind that though, because here's the pillar,
Ooh,
there's
it's a
the
big
bomb, there's
flash
the
pillar coming through from Jordan Bot, going to force on a DL Forever, who has already been exhausted, trying to tumble away, but gets hit by the Mega Inferno Bomb. Nice prediction by Resurrection, enables him to pick up that kill, but meanwhile, Mitch getting ganked in the bottom lane, or in the mid lane rather, as Shaden has teleported in. He's looking to finish off this kill on a tie gank. He's going to get him with the face breaker. Now Benjamex and Gwen are chasing on to this set, want to try to get something back, but not going to be able to do so. And as we were talking about earlier, Resurrection gets that plate and is going to be able to execute down this turret once the satchel charge comes back up. This should be first turret in the bank for the side of Striking Vipers, and they claim the gold lead with it as well. 2,000 in their favor.
And that's going to be a very noticeable gold lead as we take a peek at the gold here, because so much of it's going to be focused on the Ziggs, who's now definitely accelerated, has gotten that first turret, might have to be stuck in this bot lane for a little bit longer despite the turret not being there since Dragon is coming up. But a 0-2 Vayne who is behind on CS and lost the first turret, that is definitely being a Vayne in lane. Never mind that though, because Taigag might be looking for a dive here on the top side. Shaden does have the face breaker, but is already at half health. There's the rip tear out. It looks like it's going to be a little howdy ho, and then just skedaddle on off here.
Yeah, they're just going to cash it in there, going to pick themselves up 2 turret plates worth of gold, and a third one very possibly to follow sooner rather than later, although Shaden looking to trade aggressively, looking to make sure that Gwen can't get too much. And meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they are getting a little something started here. Online actually gets knocked back in by the pillar. Nicely placed by Jordan Bot once again. Been pretty on point with those so far this game. Not going to be able to turn it into a kill, but do claim the flash from Online. And now we're going to start off this dragon, looking to tie it up at 1-1, and Striking Vipers, despite an unfortunate start, are starting to climb them way back in.
And a lot of that's just due to the advantage they have in bot lane is letting them get this easy perma-prio in the bot lane. There isn't really any range to contest. You saw that Jin Zhao on the top side. Yes, he did have time to walk down, but you would have kind of known where he was coming from just due to the long distance of that whole ordeal. And it is going to even up the dragons. Of course, this isn't the end of the world. If you happen to be HoH, you are that scaling team. You don't have that super hard soul win con. So you've already kind of stopped any potential for a super early soul pickup from the side of Striking Vipers here, Gordo. But of course, Striking Vipers do always have the potential to nab that mountain soul here and just get themselves that extra cheating scaling, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely here, and it speaks so much that Resurrection is able to has been able to get such a substantial lead in this bottom lane, and what is on paper is supposed to be a bit of a counter matchup. I mean, you're the brain to my pinky here, Goferino, but it's on paper you would expect the Vayne to really be able to take the fight to this Ziggs. That's generally why it's picked in these matchups, right?
I have not seen Vayne picked into Ziggs, TBH. Because it's not like you have the best early kill threat against the Ziggs, and you sure as hell. Oh, never mind that. Here's a gank in the top side, 3 versus 1.
Yeah, going to be Gwen getting forced on here in a 1 versus 3. Not going to stay alive for very long. The Mist is going to protect from a little bit of damage, but Onehan going to just close the gap, get inside of it, get the shotgun blast, and take her down. Another kill going over to the side of Striking Vipers.
Striking Vipers definitely inching out more and more of a lead here. It is still not a huge lead, but it is going to start accumulating if they're able to keep this momentum, able to just keep these picks going on across the map here. Because they are the early to mid-game favorite team here. Yes, they might not match the scaling tip for Tat, but if you're able to get a huge enough lead where you kind of just have outscaled them out of pure monetary value, then you can kind of just ignore that whole deal.
Yeah, certainly can, as Going to just force this wave through in the mid lane, going to claim themselves the top turret as well. Now 2 for 0 on that objective is Striking Vipers, just claiming pretty much everything they can around the map. They weren't able to get the Rift Herald, but they got the Execute in the bottom turret. They were able to pick up the top turret as well, and now have a substantial gold lead to be sitting on here. They've kept it at about 2K, which is pretty good for 15 minutes, 30 seconds, and are going to just look to keep moving forward with it. Looking to get onto this next dragon once it spawns. It looks like they're not going to be on time to this Herald, so second Herald going to go over to the side of HoH as well. See if they're able to actually get themselves some structures down with it, as they've been a little bit behind in that game so far.
Yeah, a little bit. 2-0 in turrets. Very objective, not exactly subjective take that they are kind of behind on turrets. The last Rift Herald was kind of used just purely for plate gold due to the dragon spawning fairly soon, and it was a nice little chunk of change, but it isn't a game breaking or game deciding chunk of change. So we'll see, especially since Chunks has this Rift Herald now. If they're able to be winning out on this 1 versus 1, then maybe they're able to do it. Of course, they are on the back foot just due to the global lead. 1.5 items versus 1 item. Benjamix in a bit of danger here. Does have the Valkyrie.
Yeah, gonna be forced to use that one to get a little bit away, but that is a nice bouncing bomb coming through from Resurrection, though. Just chunks the Corki to half straight up. He does have access to that Immortal Shield Build shield, but it's gonna be procced there. That's a pretty substantial cooldown on the item down for Benjamex there, just off of a couple of Ziggs Qs landing in unfortunate places, and he's gonna have to take the recall here. Does have access to the teleport to get back if they need it, but really going to hurt him here, and is a nice play by Resurrection there, just making a lot happen from pretty far away.
Yep. Of course, my biggest question is, though, especially for the Vayne and especially for the Xin Zhao, the Wits End question, because it did get nerfed this patch, so you can't rush it, but when we're talking about the later stages of the game, if you get it as that second or third item, it is still as strong as ever. And that is a very significant amount of magic resist if you are an AD carry against this double magic damage composition. So maybe we see Forever grab that second here if they do really want to. Aren't going to be seeing it for this fight, of course, as there's a lot of antsiness here in the river. Package available for this Corki. And there is love in the air tonight, Gordo.
There certainly might be, as we do see Benjamex trying to rain down some rockets, trying to dissuade them from entering the river, but instead of Striking Vipers, they are here, and they want this third dragon of the game. Taigig has already started it up, though. That's a nice package to cut them off. Onehan flashes forward, tries to steal it away, not going to be able to do so. It's claimed by Taigig, who is now in a 1 versus 1 up against Onehan, is going to win it out with the Crescent Slash, picks up another kill there, and now is keeping the fight going in the 1 versus 2, getting chased away, but it's actually going to be the flash away, gets followed by Taigig. He's going to pick himself up the second kill off of that one. Now it's Shaden trying to take the fight, not going to be able to do so either. 3 kills already taken by the side of HoH Gaming. They pick up the dragon, they win the fight. They're claiming everything here as Mitch getting chased away on the bottom side, and the gold lead gets swung right back into the side of HoH Gaming. They claim themselves their second dragon, and just like that, they take a big team fight win.
And Striking Vipers just, they commit way too much for what is ultimately a second dragon buff for the enemy team. You don't want to be going through that package. They committed the package, they committed the Rift Herald. Okay, you don't mind that. We can give up the dragon, maybe look to pressure mid. But instead they go for that. You have Onehan flashing over that package to try and go for that 50-50, does sadly lose it. And then the rest of the team, either they have to walk across the package and eat up all that damage, Gordo, or they just kind of have to play the waiting game. And it just works out so tremendously in the favor of HoH. They're able to take the team fight dub there. They're able to take the dragon as well as that mid lane turret with the help of Mr. Herald there. So that's definitely score 1 for the side of the scaling team here.
Yeah, and the worst champion really to flash onto and fight without the rest of your team is going to be that Xin Zhao, because once he pops that Crescent Guard, the Ziggs and the Victor, they do nothing to him. They can't touch him anymore. He's too far away. He's blocking all their damage, and Taigig actually comes out on top, gets incredibly low at multiple points in that fight, but is able to sustain through it with his damage immunity and with his Core Drinker. Nicely played there, and is going to result in HoH having the lead back in their favor now.
Still not an insurmountable lead. This is a very even game. Should be literally quite even once this tower drops in the mid lane. The only real gold lead to speak of will be the invisible gold that we don't see on the scoreboard, courtesy of these dragon buffs. But even that is just a difference of a single dragon, and it's going to be the Earth Dragon for a team that isn't really stacking a lot of resistance to never mind forever. Already
Oh,
starting to do a lot of damage, but does still have to be wary. We saw how much that one single bomb did, despite having the Negatron cloak working towards what I assume is going to be the wit's end here.
yeah, Wits End risen up a lot in popularity with the Ash builds as of late, but is also plenty good on the Vayne. Gets a little bit of bonus magic damage on your autos, gets you some movement speed, gets you some of that magic resist that you're really going to want up against the double mage composition of the Striking Vipers. Will help give DL Forever a little bit more survivability along with that shield bow, and will mean that once they're tumbling around in these fights later into the game, they have a little bit better of a chance of having those pop-off plays.
Of course, that is later in the game. This is still an incomplete Wit's End. And even with the Wit's End and Shield Bow, the Vayne will still be burstable if you're not taking the Lulu into account. Like, yes, it will be significantly harder with your double AP composition, but it is still doable. AD carry is known for having very low base stats comparative to other classes in the game. This is going to be helping out a lot. Mid and a half till the next dragon, though, so we'll see if history repeats itself. Tagging look in the top lane.
Yeah, Shaden taking a whole bunch here, going to try to use the showstopper to get out of dodge. Is very low here, going to throw out the haymaker to try to stay alive, but just not going to be able to do it for very long at all. Tygig picks up the kill in the top lane, gets another assist over to their Gwen, who has already completed this Rift Maker as well and truly on her way to scaling up to be pretty huge in this later game, and is going to claim themselves a solo turret to keep that lead going.
And now, this is a 4-1 Shinzao. That was a very free kill in the top lane. You don't lose anything across the map. You have plenty of time to back and reset for this dragon. And this Shinzao is scary strong. Has those Merc Treads to have that extra magic resist. And of course, the tenacity to deal with the enemy double AP composition. But Gore Drinker plus Sterix is just such stupid tankiness and sustain that without any grievous wounds on the enemy composition, it's gonna be a little bit hard to kill Tygeg here if he's able to get things off the way he wants in this fight. There are, of course, ways around it to really deal with them, but never mind that because that's gonna be a little bit hard to do if you happen to be the Striking Vipers, and they do have prio over this pit with the dragon spawning in 10 seconds, Gordo.
They certainly do, and they would like to equalize the Dragon score yet again, but just like that, DL Forever and Tygate are starting up the Baron. They should be able to do
What?
it pretty quick here with the help of their Vayne, but Striking Viper smells what this is up to here. They're going in aggressively here. The package is available for Benjamex, could really turn the fight with it once again. That's going to be the pillar thrown on down, forcing Benjamex to go back through the team, but the pillar is not doing too much damage. The package, rather, is not doing too much damage. It's a big Mega Inferno Bomb coming across the team, but it's not enough to turn the fight. 2 kills picked up by Resurrection. I may have spoken too soon. It's 2 for 2 so far. Tygig taking a whole bunch here, and the range of Striking Vipers are allowing them to keep the enemy at bay. Tygig looking for the re-engage here. Benjamex getting chased on off by Mitch, taking a bunch of damage from those lasers, trying to stay alive, has already had his shield bow proc. The flash forward comes through from Mitch, and he picks it up with the Q. Now Tygig looking to re-engage potentially, but not going to do so. It ends up being a 3 for 2 in favor of the Striking Vipers.
And yes, you have double 80 carry. Oh,
over the wall. Ooh, if Onehan had put that Q just a little bit more to the left there, would have potentially one-shotted DL Forever, but not going to end up getting it this time around.
and that was an extremely bold Baron call, to say the least. Props to them for just peeling off of it, but they tried to repeat what they did at the last Dragon with that package, and it looked like they got it at the start of that, but with the enemy AP champions being very strong right now, they're able to get that strong burst from far range on to Forever, onto Benjamex here, and fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. I think that's the same. I forget. Either way, still great
Not
swing.
once. Yeah, no, not once to be fooled twice there. The Striking Vipers do just that. They get in there, they get themselves more kills than they end up giving up. They get a big shutdown onto... No, they don't actually get the big shutdown on the Tygate. He's still well and truly sitting on that big 400 gold bonus there, but they get kills onto the crucial targets. They're able to come out ahead and they get themselves the second dragon, keeping the gold here incredibly close. And neither of these teams going to want to give each other soul point. In about 4 minutes, we're likely to see a pretty bloody dragon fight go for Reno.
It would have to be, especially with how everybody. Oh, never mind, because
Yeah,
it's
Mitch just
just
getting
us.
jumped on here. Benjamek's going to pick up that kill, and they're going to look to keep it going here. Shaden, though, has a big haymaker over the course of everybody, picking up one kill already. Now looking to turn it into two on top of Tygig. Now the collapse coming through on the online. He's going to be forced to flash away as well. Gwen and DL forever trying to kite this one out, but this Vayne just is not tanky, does not have any ability to stay alive. The shotgun blast going to take it down from the side of Onehan, and now Gwen just has to head for the hills here online, looking to try to give her the speed boost, looking to try to get her out of dodge, but has to watch out for this Graves. It's a big man with a shotgun, looking to try to finish off another kill. Might not be able to do so. Here comes the Paler coming across pretty soon from the side of Jordan. Will they be able to collapse? It looks like the answer is no, but the fight ends up going in the favor of the Striking Vipers. They get a 3-for-1 this time around.
And HoH, they try and get a pick, and it looks really good, but the thing is, Set is very hard champion to get picks against because he has nearly 2 whole health bars thanks to that haymaker. Oh, teleport, I believe. Double teleport, there is a package available. It's not going to amount to anything. Okay, but
Yeah, Gwen just TP'd, by the way.
yeah, one of those health bars from the Set kind of nukes your backline if he's able to get the sweet spot. And HoH, like, you don't have to super hard force these fights. You do have the scaling composition. But with that, they're going to secede more control of this map. They are going to just lose prio over this Baron. It's Tygag.
Yeah, find himself a little bit caught out again. Gave up a big shutdown on the last kill. Not going to happen on this one, but still would rather not die than do so. Going to be able to pick up his own Gromp, though. Going to be able to actually even back away. Aren't quite able to get the damage on across. The ultimate just keeps him too safe from those Ziggs bombs, and he's going to be able to back away. But that might just be all that it requires for them to start off this Baron. They know the Xin Zhao ulti is down. They know that their most powerful tankiness tool for their engager not going to be available, and that might just mean that he can't afford to come on in and challenge this Baron. It's just going to be picked up for free here from the side of the Striking Vipers. A nice call for them. Gonna get themselves 3k gold in the lead and gonna give them that purple buff for the foreseeable future.
And double mage compositions with Baron buff is such a scary thing because control mage is known for their wave clear since, you know, they're kind of controlling waves. But now they're going to have the Baron buff behind them as well to give them those souped up minions. It's going to give them that extra damage to really oomph through towers, even though they do have that AP scaling damage against towers. Benjamix might be looking for something in mid lane. Actually spotted out by that ward. Never. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a package in from the side of Benjamix. Resurrection going to go into the stasis to try to stay alive. Going to get taken on down by the Corki. Shaden has teleported on in, though. Jordan Bot is here on the flank, going to throw down that pillar to try to keep Forever in place. But the Condemn is just going to be too powerful. Going to force Shaden too far away. He's not willing to flash to try to close that gap. Doesn't even probably have the damage. So it's just going to be a free kill picked up for the side of HoH. Going to just recall now, spend their money, and look to group up for this next dragon.
And that is an important kill because it helps stall out this Baron buff. You lose one of your crucial pushing members. You do garner yourself that 5 versus 4 map advantage. And even though there will still be enough Baron buff left over after this dragon for a bit, it means you won't be having to deal with a super hard Baron push beforehand. You're not going to be dealing with 2 or 3 waves and then having to rotate to dragon to contest that without any vision. It's going to be helping out the side of HoH quite a bit when we're talking about the vision game here and setting up for this dragon. You don't have... Oh, Tygag going in.
Going in for the engage, has the Crescent card available.
Oh, that showstopper?
Slammed back into everybody. It's a big showstopper coming through from Shaden, and that might stop this show right here. Forever going to end up falling on down the Mega Inferno Bomb. Going to pick up a kill onto Tygig as well. Benjamin's getting chased away. Gets a nice snipe over the wall to pick up 1 kill onto Onehan, but that is just a small recompense for the loss of his entire team. 3 members go down to the side of the Striking Vipers, and they're going to get themselves at a soul point off the back of that fight.
And a beautiful showstopper there from Shaden, taking that high HP Shinzao right into the enemy team, getting that fat damage off, even though the haymaker isn't that beautiful 5-man like just nuke. It does its job. You still have this Baron buff. You grab the dragon, you'll be able to break open the enemy base here. And good lord. Is the side of Striking Vipers just kind of poised to
Is
really establish control over this game.
is Ziggs wearing a Sork pot right now? I feel like I'm seeing the animation for the Sork pot. That would be crazy though, right?
On who?
On Ziggs.
No, I believe that's the comment.
It might just be the comment. I don't know. I could have sworn I saw the little sphere animation coming on through, but clearly it's just me hallucinating things. As not going to end up being that crazy purchase coming on through, but still excellent team fighting coming through on the side of Striking Vipers. They win yet another one. They claim themselves another objective, and they've cracked open the base successfully here, well and truly in the lead in this one.
And that's the thing, even though double mage composition is kind of known for like, yeah, they can get outscaled since they don't have the highest DPS, they can be ruined by enemy MR itemization, but there's really not a lot of magic resist on the enemy team, even with this Wits End, even with the shield bow. We saw just how easily this Vayne for Forever is just poked out and then nuked by the Ziggs Mega Inferno Bomb. And it's not like anybody else has that super high MR item. We even see the Zonies coming out for Chanks. We see what I assume is going to be a Guardian Angel for Taigek. And yes, there's a lot of physical damage on the enemy team, but even just a Spectre's Cowl, I feel, on this Shinzao or on this Gwen, should go a long way in terms of survivability in these fights. Of course, that's not the case right now. We do have Baron coming up in a minute and a half, and with the current map control and domination from the side of Striking Vipers, this should just be an easy by-the-book situation to grab that big purple worm objective.
And that's Gunsu's Rageblade finished from the side of the L forever. Will be a huge power spike for that Vayne, getting the procs more often, and not only getting procs of the Silver Bolts, but getting procs of Wits End as well. Should be a whole bunch of damage coming through on every other auto. Just has to stay alive long enough to really make those happen, and so far has not had the best time doing so. Really just need to keep their distance away from the set, but somehow also be close enough that Ziggs and Victor aren't just poking them out.
Yeah, because here's the thing. This Vayne here for Forever has the damage at this point. It's just the survivability. Even with the Wits End, even with the Shield Bow, yes, it's going to go a long way, but Mega Inferno Bomb still hits like a truck. You still get super hard zoned by that Victor Chaos Storm. And unless you're planning on getting like a Spirit Visage or like an Abyssal Mask or what have you as a major MR item, it's going to be a rough time going here for this Vayne. You are going to be heavily outranged. You are going to be outpoked. A single Mega Inferno Bomb kind of just deletes your health bar and procs your Shield Bow Shield. It makes life very hard, to say the least, as this lower range Vayne.
Yeah, certainly does there. Is the Baron going to be coming up here in just about 5 seconds? Gotta believe that that's in the eyes of both of these teams here. Taigig potentially looking for an engage over the wall, not going to land. The wind becomes lightning. Is going to force his way into that river, but Striking Vipers, they want the mid priority. They know how strong they are, and they already have the inhib down. They should have that advantage for themselves. Jordan Bot advancing forward, throws down the pillar, not able to find onto anybody, but Taigig wants the engage. He's advancing forward. He's got the wind becomes lightning. Does he want to take in the dash? Looks like the answer is going to be no. And Resurrection is channeling a whole recall here. It looks like Striking Vipers don't quite want to fight this yet, and HoH not going to be willing to start up the Baron either at the time being.
It's important to know is that Benjamix does have the package. He can actually just sequester off Mitch here. Yeah, that's his health bar. That's the Victor just picked up like that. Because I was gonna say, yeah, the side of Striking Vipers is probably kind of backing off here because there is that package that can be that huge team fight turner, allow that setup, yada yada yada. And then Mitch just kind of walks up like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Package me? And that's the code of a package victim before they got packaged.
Code of man packaged.
Yeah, I hope this doesn't violate Twitch TOS. I'm sure one of the Risen admins will yell at me if it does.
Yeah, as now it is going to be potentially the Baron here. Striking Vipers, they're on soul points, so they can afford to give up one more dragon, and that's not a luxury that HoH can afford. So they're taking this dragon to the bottom side, but the Baron has already been started up by the Striking Vipers. Benjamex going to get pulled on into there by the Facebreaker, and now here comes the Showstopper trying to lock him on down. The one shot comes on through. Shaden's able to pick up that kill, and just like that, it is a 4 versus 4 here, soon to be a 5 versus 4, as Mitch is already teleporting into the Dragon Pit. It's going to be finished off by the side of the Striking Vipers, and now they're looking for the re-engage on the backside. Mitch throws down the Gravity Well. Online has already been one shot by the side of Resurrection. It is the Gwen trying to fight his way through, not going to be able to do so either.
Forever's
The
not able to
Resurrection
get
comes on
anything.
through from the side of Tygeg, not going to get that one either. Forever is too far away, isn't able to help out his team, and is going to be the last one to fall. A 5-for-0 ace come through for the side of the Striking Vipers, and that just might be game. Go for Reno.
It might just be they don't have the minion wave quite yet. This inhib did respawn, so they don't have the supers. There is a chance, especially with this Corki back up in about 15, this Lulu back up in 10. There is a chance we see a bit of a fight here that might just turn around this game. But it's going to be very narrow here, and Striking Vipers is going for the throat as expected. These towers just melt. And okay, they're just gonna end. Never mind. It turns out you got some Sork pots, and then of course that hyper scaling AP when it comes to tower damage. It hurts a lot and just shreds these turrets.
All right, game 1 ends up going over to the side of the Striking Vipers. Was really close for a while there, but a couple of big team fights coming up in the favor of Onehan, and his squad end up swinging it in their favor. They win it out in 3 dragons to 3 dragons, almost going to the full 7 there, but ends up being the Baron that closes it on out, and they claim themselves the win in game number 1.
And it felt like they kind of had control for the most part in that game here, Gordo. Thanks to their early game composition, there definitely was some turnaround potential from the side of HoH, and there were glimpses of hope. It just wasn't quite enough to deal with the onslaught of this enemy composition, and I'm curious to see what changes in this game number 2 with how close the blows were in this game number 1.
Yeah, as am I. We are going to throw it to a quick break here. We get into draft for game number 2, but do not go anywhere. We're going to be right back here with more of Risen Divine League, a series between Striking Vipers and HoH Gaming. Welcome back, everybody, to week 2 of the Risen Divine League. We've got the Striking Vipers now on the blue side, taking on HoH Gaming on the red. Striking Vipers were able to take a game number 1 here, but now we are back into Champions Select in just a few short seconds to see who is going to be able to take this one.
Yep, Striking Vipers definitely having a fairly solid game 1. Even though there were chances for HoH to come back, Striking Vipers more or less in the driver's seat for, if I had to throw out percent, let's say 80% of that game. We'll see if they're able to keep it up this time around in this game number 2. Of course, game number 2 always different from game number 1 because you now have a feel for your opponents. You kind of know what they're going to be going for, Gordo. You kind of know, okay, maybe we should have banned this instead of X. Maybe we should have picked Y instead of Z. Yada, yada, yada. We're starting up the pick and ban here, so let's see what happens to be the first victim on the list here. It is going to be that Ivern. No surprises whatsoever.
Yeah, no, Striking Vipers had a lot of success in game number 1 by banning away those comfort picks. They took the Cho'Gath, the Ivern, and the Echo there that previous time around. I am expecting some similar bans from the other side. Camille, also a shared ban from game number 1, is taking that away from the side of Shade. And we'll see if they're going to change anything up here. That Trundle ban would be brand new, and it is going to be locked on him.
Yep. Basically the same across the board here, except for that Trundle, who definitely was pesky in that last game. When we're talking about the zero mobility enemy bot lane, well, zero blink mobility bot lane, I should say. And the Ziggs also taken off the board here. It does mean that the Camille and Tristana from last time, the Viego and Tristana from last time around will sneak their way on through. Viego is still definitely a very strong power pick. Did get nerfed this patch though, so maybe not as much of a prio. It's gonna be the set instead that worked fairly well in the top lane, even though we didn't see a lot of top lane action unless there were ganks coming up there. The set held its own for the side of Striking Vipers and was even winning out on the 1v1s a little bit, so ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it's just the reality of modern League of Legends now, right? It's the flexibility that that set brings to the table is just so incredibly valuable, and that is a recently buffed Amumu Goferino. That is locked in, my friend.
Potentially recently buffed. It has
Recently changed.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a buff for higher elo and a net neutral change for lower elo. This happens to be higher elo, so it's supposedly a buff, yada yada yada. We'll have to see, because when you do a sort of like kind of interesting but wild change like we saw with the Mumu now having 2 Q charges, it might end up either fairly OP or maybe a little too underpowered. He's going to be locked in with the Viego, though, interestingly enough, who was supposed to be shifted out of the lanes into the jungle. So this means either a lane Amumu, which I highly doubt, or we have a confirmed lane Viego here, which can be counterpicked. The Rengar being hovered, this is a specialty of sorts here for the Striking Vipers jungler in Nehan. Very potent.
We're memeing this game, Goferino. The Rengar are going to be locked in as well. Presumably, this is here to bully that Amumu, and oh boy, do I bet he's going to be able to do that. As you said, you know, the changes feel like net neutral for a lot of elos. It's going to be hard to be able to keep up all of those charges and really try to abuse the benefits that come with those. But we'll see. You know, maybe the side of Taigig is the one to do it. Did have a successful early game on the Xin Zhao last game around, but just ended up not being able to hold on to it. Now is likely going to be playing that Mummy, and now the Thresh going to be locked in as well for the side of HoH.
A lot of extra safety and a lot of single target pick here with the Thresh, with the Amumu. They do also have AoE pick as well, but their AoE picks usually come from the single target CC in their kit, whether it's the Bandage Toss, whether it is that Death Sentence. HoH are setting up this Viego for success here, because the Viego can still be that carry you want in those team fights. If he is able to scale up, if he's able to get those items, get those resets, can make the magic happen. Of course, that is assuming that Striking Vipers don't let off the gas early like we saw last game, because they do have, once again, a bit of an early to mid-game focused composition so far with the set, with the Rengar. Of course, the Tristana scales fairly well, but does have that insanely powerful level 2 all-in if you do so choose.
Yeah, that's Striking Vipers still going to be missing those last 2 bans as a result of their last minute substitution. That's going to be the Galio ban coming through in the side of HoH as well. Was banned away from Mitch in the last game. It's not a surprise to see that one taken away as well, especially given the composition that Striking Vipers have already drafted for themselves. All these champions able to dive on in when they want to, and that is so powerful when paired on up with a Galio. The Anivia ban could come through as well, just trying to pinch onto Mitch's champion pool, although could just play the Victor again and did see some good success with that one. Now going to, of course, have the Tristana in the bot lane instead of that Ziggs.
Most likely, of course, that Tristana can be flexed mid if needed. So that has yet to be seen. This timer going to be ticking on down since Striking Viper is going to be missing yet another ban here. That is going to be another blank thing on the board, even though Prodrop, known for being a mildly scuffed, this is an intentional blue square for once. Let's see what HoH wants to lock in here. They will have to reveal either their 80 carry or one of their solo laners here. I wouldn't be surprised if it is the 80 carry. Save that R5 counter pick, let that Viego be set up for success, and then potentially set up your other solo laner for success. There's a Xayah, interestingly enough, who can do fairly decently against these dive compositions, and is one of the best on paper 80 carries against the Rengar if you are insanely good at that Featherstorm timing when he jumps onto you. But it is, of course, very execution reliant, and you only have a fraction of a second to do it, so we'll see how that pans out here, and you won't have that at level 2 when we're talking about Tristana all in.
Yeah, it's going to be Cassiopeia now locked in for the side of Striking Vipers. They're keeping flavorful tonight as they lock in the Snake for themselves here. And like you said, that Xayah going to be very good up against these dive compositions like this Rengar in this set want to be. Just has to time the Featherstorm oh so perfectly in order to make that one happen. And now Striking Vipers are short a support unless they want to flex that set into the bottom lane. Could potentially go for a top laner here, and they are going to do that. They're going to lock on in this Ornn, and that means it's going to be a set coming into the bottom lane to face off against Thresh and Xayah along with Tristana.
And the set does fairly well into the Xayah when we're talking about early on, since Xayah does not have the largest range. As that base 525 auto range does not have the best range modifiers early on, since, you know, the Q not really going to be poking on this set hard enough, and you will have that all-in potential. That does mean, though, that HoH, this is very strong AoE potential between just the Amumu and the Victor. So Striking Vipers will be having to run a bit of a minefield here against the Xayah, against the Victor, to get on top of this backline, which might be an issue, but it wasn't the biggest issue last game.
Yeah, absolutely not here, as, yeah, the Victor Cassiopeia matchup should be pretty tame as far as that mid lane goes, but now with the Viego facing off against the Ornn, curious to see how this one goes. And patches past, you might feel like Viego was kind of getting off easy, as he could just kind of try to farm it on out and scale up alongside that Ornn, but now, with those attack range nerfs that have come on through, he might be a little bit more susceptible to the early power that Bellows Breath gives you, and maybe is even going to have a little bit of a rough time here in the early game.
Ornn having a rough time in the early game.
Oh, I meant Viego.
Oh, yes. Viego will definitely. I was about to say, like, Ornn having trouble killing someone early game? Come on.
No, Viego having trouble not getting killed by the Ornn, especially now that he's gotten 25 auto attack range shaved right off the top. Gonna have to step a little bit closer these days. Gonna get massively less sustain from minions. I bring this up every time because it's so wild to me. He has 90% less healing from minions than he had on release. That's a substantial amount less, my friend.
Actually, I think it might have been I forget the exact numbers on release. It might have been 150. I forget. Either way, though, of course, the Viego will be picking up sustain to deal with this Ornn. If we do see the Divine Sunder come out, if we see the Shield Bow come out, I expect the Conquer. I expect other sustain methods here to deal with this Ornn, and it's going to be up to this Ornn to burst out this Viego. That is also not factoring in any potential Rengar ganks, because Rengar, he kind of does have to be hyper aggressive here, even pre-6 a little bit. You can go for the counter jungling. It is against the Amumu, who can be vulnerable if you do jump right on top of him, if he doesn't have the bandage toss available. if you're able to just establish dominance, it's similar to Shinzao, except a little bit more. Well, you kind of got to get a bit more of a ball rolling early on here, and Rengar is always exciting to watch unless I'm an AD carry playing against it.
Yeah, certainly here. Rengar should really have his pick of the litter in regards to solo lanes to gank here. Should have a lot of opportunities up against this Viego and possibly have a lot up against this Victor as well. Both these champions not really going to have too much intrinsic mobility. Viego will have the Heartbreaker post level 6, but other than that, not going to have a lot of ways to get away from the Rengar jumping right on top of you, and should have some nice follow-up from his laners as well. In the bottom lane, Zion, Thresh, of course, are very well equipped to kite away from that kind of aggression, and being matched up against Tristana's set, certainly going to want those tools, going to want that Dark Passage, going to want that Feather Storm. It's really the Amumu that I'm looking at here for how is Taiga going to be able to navigate this early game. It's a reverse of what we saw in the previous game, where it was how can Onehan survive early on against Taiga. Now it's going to be the other way around, as this Amumu is really going to have to get up to level 6 before he represents too much value.
Does have the double Q though, so might open up something for E6. I'm not entirely sure. The patch kind of just came out this morning, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, it came out yesterday. Wild times though.
Yeah, it is a, I think it's a 5-second cooldown between Qs still. Maybe it's only 3 seconds. It's some odd number.
3 seconds, but each charge is a scaling amount of time. I think max rank is like 12 or 13 seconds, yeah. But it is
the important thing is that you can't just Q somebody and then Q them again before they get unstunned like you're playing AERF. It's not quite that powerful. It is instead just going to be the ability to use the tool multiple times within the same fight. And you know, if you chain it with your ultimate, you can still keep one target locked up for a substantial amount of time. You just have to get the sequencing correct.
Yeah. Raya was very explicit in Amumu's new CC numbers. Like, yeah, we're gonna make sure you can't Q someone, then ult them, and then Q them again. That'd be a little bit broken, potentially. Still, picks are coming on out. New Amumu bandage toss. We're talking a lot about it. Did have to take some other changes across the board. But those are not exciting compared to, you have 2 bandage tosses now. And even Rio's hyping it up in their most recent post today about how they're going to be trying to do some quote-unquote spicy buffs to bring up some potential spicy counter picks at Worlds. And at the end of the tweet, they're just like, by the way, pros, Amumu has 2 Qs now. Use him. It's like, okay, we got it. He has 2 Qs now, and you want us to use him. Well, you want the pros to use him. I could already use him. I don't have hands.
Exactly, and you know, he is one of those last champions on the list, right? It feels like everybody's gotten their chance to be good. Ujir got a whole heap of the meta this past year, got to, you know, be viable again for the first time since like 2012, and you know, they want Amumu to have that same treatment. They want the Mummy to have his time in the spotlight. Maybe even at Worlds here, maybe not until next season when, you know, maybe some items get changed around. Yeah, Amumu did have, you know, a couple of weeks there at the beginning of the season where he could just go the damage over time build and just melt through.
That was when just bombing
items
were so overtuned, especially Sunfire.
It was a fun couple of weeks. I played a lot of Amumu in those couple of weeks, but that's no longer the world we live in. The world we live in instead is the one where Amumu has 2 bandage tosses, and we'll see if that gets even close to the Amumu we saw back at the beginning of the year.
I mean, you'll have 2 bandage tosses to close the gap towards the beginning of the year. How many times can we talk about 2 bandage tosses before you throw it to break? I don't know. You're the play-by-play. You decide.
Well, we can certainly do it plenty more once we get into the game, but for right now, let's throw it to a quick break. We'll bandage toss our way over to a little bit of a timer, and then once we get logged into that game, we're going to be right back here to watch every bit of the action along with you. Do not go anywhere. We're going to be right back for Game 2.
Hey, you guys are muted. You guys are muted now. You're good.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's broadcast of the Risen Divine League. We're going to be checking out as Striking Vipers are here on the blue side this game, taking on the
Ooh,
side of HoH Gaming on the red. Find out which one of these guys are going to be able to take this game number 2. If
gonna have
Striking
action
Vipers win,
here.
they will be taking the series 2-0.
Oh, online was actually just spotted. That's why you always run completely through the bush. Deep vision, I always appreciate level 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, as just going to be a little bit of an invade coming on through. They're going to get maybe a tiny bit of vision, not even that, as they do appear to be backing away from one another, but a good effort nonetheless, even if it doesn't always end up working out.
Oh lord, I want to say something, but it's like I'm at that first stage of where I kind of want to sneeze, and it feels like it's subsiding, but it might come back. This is a bit of Rengar tech, though. You can leap from that bush onto the blue buff, since you do have, like, it's either a quarter of a second or a half second buffer, where you walk out of the bush and can still leap. It's so, it doesn't feel giga clunky. It's not going to be that, though. It's going to be action, baby. This is a
Yeah,
moo.
that's going to be the jump over the wall coming on through. Taiga going to end up giving up that first blood. This is the weakness of the early game. Amumu just gets punished instantly here from the Rengar. That is going to be a forced back all the way to the fountain for that poor little Amumu there. And that's going to be first blood going over to the side of the Striking Vipers.
Okay, but you could have the strongest early game in the world, but that Amumu is already chunked from the blue buff. 3 people just fly on over and instantly delete you, and you're like, all right, cool. Guess I'm getting 3 buffs. Guess I'm having to do a leashless start here. Like, it's over 2 minutes into the game. The Amumu has not finished a camp yet. This is Rengar for Onehan going to be taking this entire bot side, having a feast. Rengar does want to snowball, can snowball. Well, you're 1-0. You've taken this Amumu's entire bot side. Good times if you're Taigek, you know.
Certainly some good times to be had here. As Shaden going to be up in this lane, up against the Viego here, and curious to see how the early game goes here. Although it might have spoken a little bit too early there. That's a failed flash, I think. That was interesting, but that's going to be the engage coming through on to Forever. They're going to go down. They're going to give over the second kill of the game over to the side of those Striking Vipers, and they are going to be well and truly in the lead, flash or no flash.
Well, they're called Striking Vipers and not laying down Vipers.
Oh no, we called it. We called it, Gopherino. It's going to be the Viego trying to flash away. He gets smacked by the hammer as he flashes to safety. That's going to be another kill picked up there by the side of the Striking Vipers. They're winning across the map.
Okay. That's kind of a little game ending right now. They have a very snowbally team composition. And
they're snowballing, baby. They're doing it. It's happening.
Yeah. In technical terms, this is a snowball. Although with climate change, since it had to be rephrased to somewhat inaccurate phrasing. Never mind that, because the people in yada yada yada. Either way, though, 3-0, and it's not going to be fun if you're on the enemy team, and that enemy team happens to be HoH right now.
No, it is a little bit of a flavor fail because it's the Cassiopeia that they haven't been able to get anything going through yet. You really expect the Striking Vipers to take full advantage of the snake-themed champion, but other than that, they are doing an excellent job here in this early game as they are going aggressively once again, going to get that stun through onto Forever, but Jordan Bot doesn't quite have the backup for the time being. Tristana not quite being willing to take those fights yet, does have access though to the Hail of Blades, can dish out a whole bunch of damage very quickly, but just looking to clear away the wave for the time being.
Oh, Onehan is in the bot lane. Did have to expunge the rest of those stacks, though, for that Fury. How's the red buff, though? There's the Hex Flash. Great flay, though. Great hook. Does have the Haymaker.
Yeah, but he's at like 50 HP. Definitely going to end up going on down there.
W debate.
Going to have to back on away as well. Going to get hit with that exhaust online, though. Getting jumped from the bush by that Rengar. Onehan trying to keep it going, trying to get the fight, trying to get their AD carry to stay alive, and they are going to be able to do so. Nice flash, nice bush plays coming on through. Meanwhile, in the top lane, I almost thought Shaden was going to go for a kill again. Looks like not this time around, but the bottom lane fight, despite being a little bit botched early on from the side of Jordan Bot, does still end up going in the Striking Vipers' favor. They sacrifice their perfect game, but they pick up 2 kills.
Oof, and a great 2 kills. Like you said, was very close. Could have gone wrong very, very quickly. if it had not been for Resurrection getting that good flash off to dodge that blade call from Forever. And then, of course, no word in the brush means that Tristana able to dodge out on an auto that might have led to the kill. Just wins across the map here. Yeah, Shaden not really caring about this damage from the 0-1 Viego. Has the Bramble Vest, so you know he is this omnipotent assassin solo killing machine that is unkillable, by the way.
Yeah, got a lot going for him here, as the gold lead for that Ornn in the top lane has led to a Bramble Vest. It's going to make it even harder for the side of Shanks to really get in there, to really get any favorable trades, and means that he's going to keep falling on behind. As now there's another fight in the bottom lane, once again going in the favor of HoH. These 2v2
In the
really
top
do
side,
end up in their
Horn.
favor time and time again without jungle interference. But meanwhile, in the top side, as you said, that's going to be the Call of the Forge God coming on across. That's going to be another kill picked up for the Striking Vipers. They give that one over to the Ornn, now sitting up at 2-0 with a nice, healthy 12 CS lead to boot. And now look at Rengar just chasing into the jungle here. Just will not let the Amumu get anything. And there's the Viper. The Viper's getting a kill. The Snake gets the 1v1 in the middle lane. Nicely played by Mitch. And now the bottom laners are going at it once again. The Feather's going to come on through, going to pick up that kill onto Jordan Bot's set, just stepping up a little bit too far once again, as the last hope for this HoH squad seems to be in this bottom lane, where they are continuously coming out ahead in the fights.
Yep, despite the fact that this Tristana did get accelerated early with that early assist, with that early kill. In fact, even saying 2-0-2 themselves here is Resurrection, but good hooks coming out from online. There's the all-in. There's the Lantern. Feather Call is, the Blade Call is available if Forever does need it. Gonna want him back here fairly soon.
Yeah, not going to end up anything or really going over one way or the other there. It's the escape potential here is really something to speak of for this bottom lane. It is going to be, of course, the Dark Passage from the Thresh, which is part of the reason why this champion's been considered so broken basically all season long. But it's also the feathers, why can't I think of what that ability is called? The Feather Storm for the ultimate coming through from Xayah, going to really keep her very safe in these 2v2s once she has access to it, and it's going to make it harder for Onehan to really swing these matchups in the bottom lane. Taigig, though, coming through for the gank here, has the bandage trust. He's going to land it on to the side of that Tristana, but does not have the ultimate. He's just going to be forced to flash away to go into the Dark Passage and get pushed away by the Buster Shot as well. Meanwhile, Mitch has just picked up another kill in the middle lane, along with his Lion jungler friend. That is going to be another kill. Going over to the side of Striking Vipers, and HoH, they just can't make anything happen even in the bottom lane.
Sadly, yep, the Tristana very slippery. This Amumu, not level 6 in that gank, did not have the Curse of the Sad Mummy too far up to really get anything accomplished there, since the Xayah and the Thresh a little too far back. And I mean, as casters, we kind of hate to call the game done when it's not even 10 minutes in, but this is a very colossal gold lead here. With the dragon, with the gold, with the kills, with the CS. It's looking like it might be a 2-0 here for Striking Vipers.
Oh, that's going to be the flash engage coming through from Mitch. Going to land that Petrifying Gaze. Not going to get the stun on the Benjamex, but is going to have enough damage in the tank. That should be the pickup coming on through. One more Noxious Blast is enough, and they're going to deftly evade from that Amumu coming through as well. 2 bandage tosses are not enough. If you can't get in range for even one, that is going to be another kill picked up for the side of Striking Vipers. They're Striking Viper themselves in the mid lane, going to be sitting there at 3-0-0. Going to have quite a bit of gold in the tank as they go for their first recall in a while.
Yeah, and keep in mind, in the mid lane, Benjamex was just trying to cancel a recall there, and then just got flashed on and mowed down by this now 3-0 Cassiopeia, who's able to back. Does not have the myth. Oh, Onehan's looking for blood here.
And Onehan's going to get it as well. This poor regifted Amumu just trying to get some distance away. Benjamex is here for the backup, though. It is just going to be cleansed away, though, by that the Rengar, as he just dives forward once again, looking to pick up the kill onto this Amumu. Going to get it with the Bola toss, and now Benjamex has to head for the hills. He's just getting re-engaged on a nice flash away from the Heartbreaker. Onehan is in their heads. They can't hit him with anything. He's diving, ducking, dodging, dipping, diving in and out of these bushes, trying to get every single bit of damage he possibly can. Not going to be able to pick himself up another kill there, but he does manage to stay alive throughout all of it, and he looks pretty stylish while doing it.
And with how far behind this Viego is, just not able to do meaningful damage.
Oh, 2v2 once again, but Jordan Bot looks like he might actually have something going for him this time. Picks up the solo kill on the online in the 1 versus 2 set support. Really making that first pick look worth it.
And even with the 2v2s seemingly going in the favor of this HOH bot lane, it's not really decidingly in their favor. This is still a 2-1-2 Tristana at the end of the day. This Tristana, when we look at the scoreline, is ahead of this Zaya. And that's not really enough of a lead when you consider there's a 3-0 Cassiopeia who's going to hyperscale. Well on her way. There's a 2-0-1 who's 2-0-1 Ornn who's been accelerated, who's going to hit those early upgrades to just accelerate this team even harder. And there's also this 304 Rengar that is gonna instantly delete this Victor for Benjamix in every single fight.
On the hunt. It's been popped. Rengar looking around here, going to find onto Tygag, just going to use the jump there, dodges away from the
There's that
bandage
double
toss. Going to
bandage
be a few more
toss,
seconds until
though.
another one's available. Miasma's been thrown down. It's so hard for them to get on through.
Great
There's a big
face
face
breaker.
breaker. That's going to pick up the kill
Feather
onto
Storm.
Tygag, and now they're looking to keep it going. There comes the dive. It might be a little bit too far. Showstopper just does not give you any tank stats. It means you're just going to get taken out down by the turret. It's actually a 2-for-1 in the favor of HoH, but that's going to be a small cookies in comparison to the gold lead that's already been established.
It does narrow the gold lead, though, by a bit of a noticeable chunk, though. Definitely a slightly make a play. Eating up all that tower aggro this early on with how squishy a lot of these champs are. Wait. That's an Amptum in Onihan's inventory. Wait, what?
All right.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know what to believe about this, Goferino. I'm excited to learn more, as that will end up giving you damage to your ferocious roar. I'm just making up ability names at this time.
Rengar is a thing, but you don't usually see the Divine Sunderer with that.
Yeah, AP Rengar is a thing. Hybrid Rengar, maybe not so much as.
Okay, so going through Risen, it's a lovely sponsor u.gg, and going to Rengar Pro builds. Recently, 9 days ago in patch 11.16 of SK Gaming, Jinox played top lane Rengar with Grasping Dying TP Ignite and got a Zonia's with Gore Drinker Sterex.
That's spicy.
The Zonia's was purchased, though, a few minutes before the game did end. So take it that what you will, but hey, shout outs to Risen sponsor u.gg. Great place to look at builds when you have to look at an Amptone Rengar.
Yeah, shout out to Genax as well, if it does end up being the new meta, the new Zonia's meta coming on through for the side of Striking Vipers here, although it's starting to feel like Onehad could build almost anything at this point. Is that it's going to be Jordan Bot getting hooked on in once again. We've seen this song and dance before, but Onehan is here to turn it around. It's going to be a Gale Force away from the side of Forever, but the jump from the bush is just so long range. Resurrection going to pick himself up another kill, going to jump over the wall there with the rocket jump to try to stay alive. Is now Jordan Bot getting engaged on, going to end up going on down. Thresh going to pick that one up. The Delible teleports have come on through. Shaden is here, does have access to that call. The Forge God is going to look for it sooner rather than later. Bola going to stun up onto online. The jump from the bush comes on through. The death sentence does not land, though. It's now Benjamex just taking a bunch over the wall. It is a bunch of damage over time on top of online as well. Might end up burning all the way down. Is not going to do so. Going to stay alive for just a little bit longer, but this dragon is going to go in the side of the Striking Vipers.
These two dragons already pre 15 minutes. This is setting up for an early soul. If they are able to get the next two very close to when they spawn, it is also going to be an Infernal Soul, and we're talking about a Fed Tristana, a Fed Rengar, a Fed Cassiopeia. You're going to be kind of feeling that, no matter how tanky you happen to be. Infernal Soul, like most souls, one hell of a drug. Still on the back foot is going to be HoH. They have maintained a kind of consistent goal deficit, so it hasn't been spiraling further out of control aside from that dragon. But it's still going to be a hard pill to swallow for them to come back in this game.
Absolutely is going to be here. They've gotten themselves some kills on the backside of a lot of these engages, but Tygate once again getting face breakered on in is just going to flash right over that wall, and that is actually going to get him out of the range of Onehan. So not going to end up picking up another kill there is the Striking Vipers. But that's a nice, important engage tool down for Taigig now, just forced to blow defensively by daring to step into his own jungle there. It's really just the side of Striking Vipers exerting their influence over this map and coming out ahead for it.
Just let the dude pick up his own jungle camps there. Like, does finally complete the Sunfire here. That is going to be important power spike, but still so far behind the competition in Onehan's Rengar. The kills, the CS deficit.
That's a fiendish codex, by the way, Goferino. So we're
So that does go
continuing.
into the Zonias.
It does. It's
Online.
still on the table, but now here comes
Showstopper.
Showstopper coming on
Horn,
through from
horn.
the side of Jordan Bot, looking to keep this fight going online, going to be jerking on down from the side of that Ignite. He's going to end up falling, but that's a kill back onto
how low
Onehan now. This
Resurrection
might be the
is.
fight that the HoH side was looking for. They're going to pick up another kill here onto Shaden, or maybe they won't. He's going to flash over the wall, but it is going to be picked up by Shanks, as now they're looking to keep this fight going. It is going to be Jordan Bot, along with Mitch, just carrying this one. Petrifying Gaze going to stun up Benjamins for oh so long, and that means the Snake going to pick themselves up a double kill. Now it is Viego and Taigig trying to keep this fight going, trying to get a little bit more on the backside as they are already slightly ahead. It has been a 2-4-3 thus far. That is just going to be Resurrection pushing in the middle lane, trying to pick something up here. So far, that is going to be Viego interrupting the recall here. Might pick up the kill there onto Jordan Bot, but the jump over from Tristana might just be a little bit too much. But now the damage isn't there in the tank yet. And Viego, very strong, very tanky once he's actually stealing away from souls there. That's going to be another kill going over to the side of HoH. They continuously find ways to scrape a little bit back from these fights.
And it's kind of similar to the last game where even though they were kind of on the back foot, they're able to, in the mid stages of the game, definitely make some schmooze around the map to bring it a lot closer. It's not as close it was last game, since it was such early game dominance from the side of Striking Vipers, but still some signs of life here from the team where I kind of said 8.5 minutes in, yeah, this game is kind of over, and yes, this is still a very large gold lead. It is a large objective lead. There's some hope though, some hopium to deal with the copium.
You might just be able to have a little bit of that here. Jordan Bot once again just going to be scanning out here, really looking out of place at 2, 5, and 4 on this otherwise a very dominant Striking Vipers squad. It's now is going to be Mitch just waiting around in the bush here, going to land that miasma. Not going to get the stun, though, of the Petrifying Gaze. Might not be coming out where's for where in the side of this 1 versus 1. Almost gets turned around by the Viego, but it is Cassiopeia is just too fat. He's just too strong and has a couple more pages in that Magi Soul Stealer, up to 20 stacks now. Absolutely massive coming through from Mitch in the mid lane.
That was still very close, though. Just those few kills accelerating this Viego that hard to be almost able to turn that 1v1 with a bit of fancy feet. In the end, though, 7-0 for this Cassiopeia, like you pointed out, going towards that Rylai's as well. Once that Rylai's comes out, Cassiopeia with Rylai's is very obnoxious to go into. Just due to the DOT constantly slowing you. We'll see how it works out, though. And it is going to actually be the Zonia second here for Onehan. So shout out to U.GG and Janak of SK Gaming for showing that this is tech on Rengar. It definitely helps when you go in to have that stasis to burst someone and then just go golden.
Well, Gen X, we still don't know if you were trolling or if you were, building legitimately. But this is your build now. It's going to have your name attached to it, at least in my mind, for the foreseeable future. Is now here it comes that Zonia's Rengar diving on into the bottom lane, looking to get a kill on to Benjamax, going to pop the stasis. That's going to keep him alive for the time being. Go Farino. I call that a worthwhile purchase right there. 2,900 gold to survive the Chaos Storm. I'll pay that every time.
Won't have it for the dragon fight if there happens to be one. Of course, did exchange that for Benjin X's flash, so worth it when we're talking about pure cooldowns. Just won't have that extra safety net.
Yeah, I mean, that's the dragon fight right there. It's a 1 versus 1 between Mitch and the dragon, and Mitch wins that one every single time. So there's going to be Dragon Soul point picked up for the side of Striking Vipers. They need just one more now to have that oh so powerful Infernal Soul. Should be feeling pretty good about having that one at their backs. Meanwhile, turret going to be picked up on the top side for HoH. They are claiming a little bit back on the other side of the map. They get themselves a nice little turret. They get themselves some jungle camps, and hopefully they don't get themselves killed, as Onehan is looking to collapse.
Man, this is a 3.5 item Cassiopeia now. How's that Rylai's? How's that nearly fully stacked Mage Eyes? Gonna be a bit of a threat when the rest of the enemy team more or less just sitting on single items here outside of Forever, who has that 2 item spike. You're gonna absolutely shred through this Saya. Even with the Featherstorm, Cassiopeia does not really care. She is DOT, not burst.
All right, we have been called out here, Gopherino. It does appear we should be calling him One Hand or Han, but it was nice to call him Onehan while it lasted. But we'll keep with the wishes of the team and go back to One Hand for the time being. So that is going to be quite a dominant performance so far on this Rengar, and quite a nice build there in the form of the Zhonya's Hourglass. Looking to see if you can get a little bit more value out of that one this time around.
Yeah. It's just so funny. Like he has this stopwatch too now.
That's the double Zonias right there, man. That he could dive so deep as long as his team is in the same hemisphere as him. Just dive on in there, 1 versus 5, go for the double stasis, and wait for everyone else to come back you up. That's a legitimate strategy, and it's one that the side of the Striking Vipers are going for this time around.
Man, I wonder if Riot will ever make it a unique active, where if you have the Zonias, it'll go on cooldown if you use the stopwatch. I think that might be interesting. Of course, this is like super niche and you barely ever see it. And the thing is, that stopwatch can still build into something if we do see the Guardian Angel come out. So this could potentially be a double stopwatch build, and neither stopwatch will be wasted, quote unquote.
All right, it's One Han. I've been corrected once again, and we are going to be keeping it that way. No more name changes here. That's going to be the engage coming on over the wall for Taigeg. They one-shot One Han right as I bring him on up, and that's going to be Taigeg getting bursted on down here from the side of Resurrection. Going to be 1-on-1 here for this fight so far. That's a nice call. The Forge God, though, going to knock up out of 4 members from the side of HoH, but can the Striking Vipers strike back? It looks like the answer so far is no, but that's going to be the rocket jump over the wall. Flash forward, but that's going to be Death Sentence coming on through. The kill gets picked back up by the Featherstorm from the side of Forever. It does end up being a 2-for-1 in favor of HoH. They once again navigate the fight well, and they pick themselves up more than they give up.
We didn't even see the double stopwatch Zonia's action in a fight. We hyped it up so hard for One Hand.
One Hand.
Han.
We've learned our lesson. We're going to be keeping it accurate for the remainder of the stream.
I mean,
and for the remainder of this game.
Kind of cool. I kind of thought it'd be that, considering Risen is very pro anime with how active the VTuber channel is. Love that channel, by the way. This is a Baron start. Okay.
Yeah, we've lost ourselves in the game a little bit here, but we're finding ourselves right back, as that is going to be the Baron starting on up here for the side of Striking Vipers. They are going to be able to pick that one up, but that is going to be the dash over for the Viego on the wall, though he might have bitten off more than he could chew here. Going to get taken out down by the side of Jordan Bot. Mitch is exhausted, not going to be dishing out the damage he needs to. Cleanses away, but he's going to
Resurrection. He's going in, baby.
Jump over, though. Look at Resurrection. He's picking up all the kills. He's got the resets on the rocket jump. He's in the 1 versus 1 up against Taigeg now. He's going to have his team to back him on up as well. 4 kills picked up for the side of the Striking Vipers. They're going to chase down out of the last one as well. Somehow One Han gets that kill. Oh, no, it's just a little bit delayed in the display. Triple kill for the side of Resurrection, and that is going to be an ace for the side of the Striking Vipers.
And the Infernal Soul, too. Like, it looks kind of okay-ish at the start of that. You're like, okay, you took off some vital Baron buffs. You can maybe kind of get out of this, but the damage from Mitch was kind of already done then. You'd taken too much DOT from this Cassiopeia, too much AoE slows. And then Resurrection as the flanking Tristana going in. No bars held. Absolutely fearless. With Baron buff, with Infernal Soul, with just how fed this team is, Striking Vipers can look to go for the jugular, more or less. That's a good hook online, though.
One Han getting collapsed on here a little bit. Does not have access to any of his stasises anymore. He has no idea what time it is. No hourglass, no stopwatch, no nothing. But is going to be the dragon started up. Nonetheless, he is invisible there when he's on the hunt. Going to be looking for a jump coming through pretty soon there. The miasma does come on through, and the hook is dodged away from the side of Mitch. And now here comes the engage. Tigeg just getting pushed and pulled all around the map. Gets the 5-man ultimate, actually, but it just doesn't mean anything as the team isn't there to back him on up. Benjamex taken down incredibly low here from the side of Resurrection. One hand going to be able to finish off the kill onto online, and the recall has been started from this Viego. They're going to walk right by him. He's going to jump over the wall, trying to finish off onto Tristana. Is going to do so. Going to get his first reset. Going to try to rocket jump away. Not going to be able to do so, though, as Jordan Bach going to claim that kill. And just like that, 3 kills are there for the side of the striking Vipers. There's only 2 left for HoH. They can't defend their base up against this Baroned up team, up against this Infernal Souled up team, and the base is going to be cracked.
Oh, there's a Featherstorm just being having pop. That is another shutdown, but one miasma completely zoning out this Zaya. Yeah, one miasma gonna be taking out nearly half the Zaya's health. That's Infernal Soul for you, and that is a base correct wide open here by the side of Striking Vipers. Gordo, they are in control once again in this game, looking to get that 2-0 here off the backs of just how fed their carries are.
Certainly here and now. Wonhan is finishing off that recall, and now there's an important decision to be made here, Gopherino. Does he sell the broken stopwatch, or is he going for the Guardian Angel to have the double resurrect build? It is going to be the latter, so that item is going to be finished on up here. And once again, Rengar is very, very hard to kill, not due to tankiness, but due to items that are just going to keep him from taking any damage for substantial periods of time.
God. Zonia's and the Guardian Angel. Maybe a little bit overkill. You have that Ornn. But you are also, of course, very far ahead as a team. Don't want to be giving up any unnecessary kills. You have the extra stats from levels and your just gold advantage to make up for any potential lack of damage with, I mean, Azonia's Detour as a Bruiser Rengar. Yep.
Woo.
Infernal Soul, by the way.
For sure, for sure. I'm actually very excited to see the Ornn upgrade come on across for this Rengar, if only because Divine Sunder has the coolest upgrade name for the Ornn items. It's called Deicide. So very excited to get to see that one this game.
That's the thing with Ornn upgrades. It's just hard to remember their names because
I
they
only
already
remember the cool ones.
changed a lot of the names of mythics for kind of seemingly no reason. Like Leandri's Torment became Leandri's Anguish. It's like, okay, but why?
And it's Leandri's Lament now that it's been upgraded by the Ornn. I guess I do know more of these than I might have thought.
Like, okay. It was what? Luden's Tempest, and then they made it
Eye of Luden.
Luden's Echo, and then it became Luden's Tempest. It's like, okay, but why? It's like, why, Riot? Like, they're the same item. Why did you have to change the name? It makes it harder for us to remember the names.
Certainly does. Frostfire Gauntlet from Iceborne Gauntlet's the worst offender by far, in my opinion. I still call that thing Frozen Fist from what it was like on the PBE in 2015. You can't make me change the names on these ones, not anymore. It's Wonhan on the hunt, looking for an engage, going to dash in here, trying to get onto the side of Benjamex, but the interference is there from Tigig, but he might find himself locked down as well. Not going to get hit by the face breaker. The re-engage, though, coming on through. Viego is leading the charge. He's looking to try to get a heartbreaker in there on one side or the other. Benjamex keeping the cutoff here on the side, but over the wall comes the side of Resurrection. He's going to pick himself up. The solo kill there up against the opposing Victor. Just one-shots him with the Buster Shot plus Explosive Shot combo, and that's going to be a 5 versus 4 on the map for the side of the Striking Vipers.
Yep, that's a Fed Tristana. 3.5 items against a, well, now 2 and 6 Victor, who does not have any armor whatsoever. So, fun times here for Benjamex, who does not get to exist this game, feels like. And just feels like a bit of a matter of time until the Striking Vipers end this with just their massive gold lead. They have this Infernal Soul. They have control over the map. We have a few seconds until this Baron is up. And there's also an open inhib. Look at that damage. Yep, this is a late game Tristana with 4 complete items. She has such... It is like deceptively hard scaling because everybody kind of instinctively knows from past years, like, yes, Tristana hyperscale, she has that Q for that super large attack speed boost. She has the scaling attack range. But last year, they just gave her basically when they're buffing ADCs, since instead of giving her the flat health and then the health per level that other ADCs got, she got scaling crit damage execution sort of deal on her E, which gives her insane burst when we're talking about this late in the game with this full of a build. Um, so yeah, fun times if you happen to be squishy against that. No pressure.
Yeah, no, the 4 items and the Wormfall and Sacrifice upgrade as well coming on through from this Ornn. It just means that so much damage is available to just Tristana. The Deicide has been completed, by the way. Very exciting coming on through from Shaden's upgrades. Once again, the Locket going to be the last one to be upgraded on the team, as you would expect. That sentence going to go a little bit wide there, as it just is going to be the side of the Striking Vipers ripping apart this base, picking up inhibitors left and right, and nobody on HoH is able to get the engage angle they're looking for. They're not willing to take the fight at this point, but they're running out of time to be able to do so.
Yeah, I'm going to see after this game.
They've
what do you
kind
want?
of ran out of time long ago. It feels like we're gonna have to see one last Hail
Why?
Mary with just how
Oh,
hard
you
the
mean the
scaling
groceries?
is in the favor right now with this gold lead with the Ornn items. There's the fight. Here's the Hail Mary.
Yeah, Taigag once again gets a nice engage there. The ultimates have
I'm
been good, but there's
excited
just
right
no
now.
follow-up available. As look at Resurrection, just
Well,
looking to
I'm
solo this
muted, but
entire
it could
team
be
here.
he
He is
just
going to
like a
get
little
finished on
pirate.
off by
He's so
DL
invited.
forever. Just a little bit too over-aggressive there, but it might not even matter, as he's already picked up 2 kills
Seems
for
awesome,
their
and
trouble.
this
They're
is
going
gonna
to
be a
force the
2-0.
remainder into the base, and with 3 inhibitors down, the only thing left up for these Striking Vipers is to try to finish on off the base. The engage comes on through from the side of Shaden. They're going to be able to finish off that kill onto the Xayah as well. Hook comes on through, just gets immune by that W in power coming through from the Rengar, and they are just going to finish off onto the base here. It is going to be Striking Vipers taking this series in 2 after they clean up a couple more kills
Oh, the
in the
bill.
fountain. Finally, they do close
Under
it out.
1K, that's so cool.
Pan and a much more dominant game number 1, or sorry, game number 2 than game number 1 here. Very similar end times, just a lot more one-sided of an affair, just carrying out the deeds to end this game, and Striking Vipers not really giving much of a chance here for HoH Gaming to really come back into this, Gordo, with just how dominant of a start they got already at level 1, but then at level 2 and level 3 with those just solo kills.
Yeah, for certain. They're just nicely played all around. Striking Vipers get so many advantages in their lanes, as you said. They get kills in the 2 versus 2, they get kills in the 1 versus 1 in top, they get kills in the 1 versus 1 in mid, and all the while it is one Han just running around on this Rengar, making the difference wherever he needs to, and clearly going where he pleases and building what he pleases, coming out ahead at the end of the day.
I'm not gonna leave.
Yep. Also finishes the Cosmic Drive as well for this Rengar. So could chalk that up to he was that far ahead, so he could kind of go for that somewhat luxury, maybe some might call a VM build. Either way, though, like very dominant showing across the entire board here for Striking Vipers in this game too.
Certainly was here, and they are going to advance to 2-0 here in the Risen Divine League group stage, well and truly on their way towards making it to those playoffs. You do need to be top 4 in your group to be able to make it to that stage, and starting off 2-0 certainly going to get them into a nice start. Meanwhile, HoH going to fall to 1-1. They're going to have to pick up some more wins in the later weeks to make sure that they are going to be able to get their spot in the playoffs as well.
And it's not like it's the end of the world. Like, it's literally week 2. It is gonna be a round robin, so you have another 4 games ahead of you before those playoffs. If you happen to end 5-1, that is still more than enough to go to playoffs here. So HoH not out of this by any means. They put up a good fight. They're 1-1, not the worst position to be in. They just got a few rough edges in that early game to iron on out, I feel, so they don't fall that far behind.
Certainly the case here, but that is going to do it for our broadcast tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning on in. Watch Striking Vipers take on HoH Gaming. For myself, Gopherino, and Mermage on production. Appreciate you all tuning in, and have yourselves an excellent evening.